Have you ever thought about the timing of your putting stroke, or how that timing might affect the distance control that you have on the greens? Well, all great putters exhibit great timing, and that timing is a skill that doesn't often get talked about but can be trained. Today, with the help of the HackMotion wrist sensor, I'll show you how to measure and then manage that timing across a range of putts to help improve your distance control on the greens like never before. Okay, so we know timing is important, but how do we train it? And what does it even look like? Well, in putting, the timing element of the stroke would be a measurement or a ratio between the amount of time it takes for you to make the backswing and then the amount of time it takes for you to get from the end of the backswing back to the ball, the downswing if you like. And generally speaking, the downswing is half the time of the backswing, or the backswing takes twice as long as the downswing. That 2-to-1 ratio is a reasonably good place for you to start. Now, not every putter exists in that exact space of timing, but within reason, that range is a good place for you to start. How would you know what that feels like? Well, that's hard to conceptualize. That doesn't make a lot of sense to people. But if you were to go ahead and I was going to hit one putt here using the HackMotion wrist sensor, I'm going to get some feedback as I make contact with the ball there. I'm going to get some data on my stroke, and my ratio there of my stroke, 2.6, gives me the feedback that was a little bit on the slow side. My backswing was slower than my downswing. And why you'd want to train good timing would be that golfers who struggle with timing typically have backswings that are excessively slow and then need to have a very violent amount of acceleration. That makes distance control very difficult. And equally, the other end of the spectrum, where golfers have very fast, rapid strokes where it's hard for them to control the speed of the putter. Again, difficult to control outcome. So this timing element can help you improve the delivery of your putter to the ball, and the speed at which you do that will then influence the distance the ball travels. You'll become better at controlling speed. Let me have one more go at that. Same sort of distance of putt, back, through. Let's see what that looked like. A little bit faster that time, 2.4, decent outcome. So that would be something that you would look to try and train across a set distance of putt to begin with. Get good at the timing, get good at understanding what that feels like. It doesn't have to be perfect every single time, but having a pattern of being able to repeat a similar ratio would be good for your speed control. Then where you would explore is different lengths of putt, because despite what may seem a little anti-intuitive, if you like, is the idea that this timing can be transferred across different ranges of putts. So if I was going to hit a ball now a much shorter distance to a target that was just in front of me, that ball's traveled significantly less distance, that 2-to-1 ratio exists. I'm within range. So the backswing and downswing time wasn't too dissimilar to that of a mid-length putt. So I can transfer good timing across different lengths of putt. And that's really what good golfers do. People who are good at putting, good at distance control, have good timing that they transfer across different stroke lengths to be able to manage how far they hit the ball. And final thing to show you would be that that would also be similar across a much longer putt. So there's a ball that's traveled much further, a little bit slower on the timing metric there, but if you were to train that over time, you would find that your timing would sit very consistently across a range of different putts. Also, as you train this, you'll notice where maybe you have a weakness in terms of timing. You might be pretty good at that mid-distance putt, but when you get to these short ones, you don't like them quite so much, you may notice how your timing changes. That might signify that you're using your wrists differently or your body differently. Or it could be the longest putts where you struggle to really control distance because you don't know how to make that stroke longer. Whatever it is, improving your timing across a range of putts will ultimately improve your ability to control distance. Now, if you have an issue with this part of your stroke, how do you go and train that? Well, inside the HackMotion app, we have a metronome timer that you can use and set to work your stroke timing within. So as I come over to the app, I can select the metronome option and switch it on, and I have the ability to scroll through different timings, beats per minute if you like. This one here is 80 beats per minute, and then the little moving putter head or the avatar above that number is showing how you're supposed to hit the ends of the stroke with the metronome. So that's slightly different to the way I explain timing. You want to hit the beeps or the ends of the stroke either at the end of the backstroke, and then the next beat should be at the end of the follow through. So the timing element of this is back, through, back, through, back, through, back, through. You may have been told the putting stroke is like a pendulum. Well, you start that pendulum tick-tocking. The tick and the tock needs to be at the end of the stroke in the backswing and the end of the stroke in the follow-through. That could be a little difficult to conceptualize as well when you're trying to match up timings when there's a ball in the way. So I would encourage you to set the metronome, have it ticking, and then to even looking at the screen helps me to get a sense of the timing there. There we go. I can feel that I'm hitting the tick-tocks at the right stage. And then that would be something you'd want to try to transfer, that timing, that 80 beats per minute. In my case, I'm practicing 80 beats per minute. You can use a range, a faster or slower range if you find that more comfortable. But then you would walk into the ball and try to repeat that timing. Okay, that felt much nicer off the putter face. You'll see there that my ratio went to that 1.9 range, whereas previously it had been a little bit too slow. So working with the metronome to begin with, start on something that gives you the sense of what should be correct. Work without a ball. It's important you start without the ball and that you try to hit the ends of the stroke as you do the metronome, and then what you want to do is introduce the ball. And another way to help you use the metronome would be to place T-peg on the backswing and T-peg on the follow through. The exact distance of these T-pegs isn't wholly important, how far away you put them from the ball. What does matter and what you should pay attention to here is that they're somewhat equal to either side of the ball, creating some symmetry in your stroke. It's another great trait of good putters is that their strokes are quite symmetrical, the backswing and the follow through match, going back to that sort of pendulum analogy. So if the tees are in the ground and I can hear the tick-tocking of the metronome, I can work on getting the putter to hit the ends of the stroke, and having the T-pegs there in the ground visually can really help me. As I say, I'm using this 80 beats per minute. You can play around with different timings based on your preferences. There are certainly people who have faster tempos that can work and golfers who have much slower tempos that can work. You can think of golfers maybe that have a faster tempo putting stroke. Brandt Snedeker would be somebody who has a very fast stroke. Okay, somebody like Lauren Roberts from years ago who was considered a great putter, even Ben Crenshaw would have a much longer, more languid stroke. Those timings would look different, but those golfers would be able to recreate those timings. So it's the skill of the repetition that's more important than just hitting the number. You'll see there with my Brandt Snedeker example, 1.3 is considered quick. A lot of golfers would struggle to manage the speed of their putter swinging that fast, but it worked okay for him. Understand that the numbers are a guide and you're looking to get good at controlling and repeating your preferred tempo. So I'm going to stand inside the T-pegs here and get the backswing and the follow through to match, get a feeling of that tempo and timing, and then step in and hit the putt. I'm not giving too much consideration here to the outcome just yet, but what you can do as you develop this skill is change the position of these tees to increase or reduce the length of your stroke, which ultimately, if the timing stays the same, will have a direct influence on how far the ball goes. So number one, train the timing, and then from that you can train the different lengths of stroke. I'm going to encourage you to go and look at other putting videos that I've made with HackMotion. You can find those down in the description of this video. Click on that link. If you've trained the skill of timing to a place where you're happy with it, then the next thing you need to do is go and train the different distance of stroke to create different outcomes and distances.